the land of Umadim, there ruled a mighty king named Obis. He was loved by his people for his wisdom and fairness. Under his reign, the land prospered, and the kingdom was envied by all. But there was one matter that troubled the king deeply. Though his first wife, Queen Neka, was kind, wise, and loyal, she bore him only daughters. The elders whispered, "Without a son, who shall inherit the throne? What will become of the royal lineage?" Obis' heart was restless. Against the pleading of Queen Neka and the warnings of the chief priest, he decided to take another wife, Adis, a woman famed for her beauty. They said her eyes could melt stone and her smile could silence quarrels. But some also whispered that wherever she went, misfortune followed. From the day Adis entered the palace, the air grew heavy. On her wedding night, the royal lamps burned dim, and a sudden wind swept through the palace halls. Guards swore they heard footsteps in the courtyard though no one was there. Months later, Adis gave birth to a son. The king rejoiced, beating drums across the land, declaring the boy the heir to the throne. The kingdom celebrated, but Queen Neka wept silently in her chambers, sensing that joy had opened the door to sorrow. Strange things began to unfold. The night the prince was born, Queen Neka's youngest daughter fell mysteriously ill. Her body grew cold, her eyes lost their shine, and before dawn, she was gone. Soon after, the rivers that once nourished the land began to dry, yams rotted in the barns, and the marketplace grew silent as merchants lost their goods to unseen forces. The people whispered, "The new queen has brought a curse into the palace." Desperate for answers, the king summoned a great diviner. The man cast his cowries, and his voice trembled as he spoke. "The woman you married is not what she seems. Her lineage is tied to a forbidden oath. Her beauty is a mask, hiding a shadow that feeds on envy and destruction. If she remains in this palace, the kingdom will know no peace." But the king, blinded by his love for Adis and his pride in his new son, dismissed the warning. He silenced the diviner and swore never to hear such words again. From then on, misfortune deepened. Farmers worked but their harvest vanished overnight. Warriors returned from battle weak and empty-handed. Children cried at night, pointing to dark figures moving through the palace walls. One dreadful evening, thunder struck the royal shrine though the sky was clear. Flames devoured the sacred grove, and no water could quench them until every idol was reduced to ash. The priest declared that the gods had turned their backs on the land. The people grew restless. Some demanded that Adis and her son be banished. Others, fearing the king's wrath, remained silent. But behind closed doors, they whispered that the boy was cursed. Years passed, and the young prince grew. Wherever he went, shadows followed. Cattle died, children fell ill, and even the birds avoided his path. Queen Neka's daughters feared him, for his laughter echoed like whispers from the grave. One night, the ghost of Queen Neka's youngest child appeared in a dream to her sisters, warning, "The throne is no longer safe. Beware of the boy born of envy, for his crown shall be made of blood." Haunted by the dream, Queen Neka begged the king to act. But Obis, weary and stubborn, still refused to listen. In his final days, when sickness laid him low, the king confessed to Queen Neka, "I should have listened. The crown does not belong to a cursed child. Adis' beauty blinded me, and now my kingdom will pay the price." When the king finally died, chaos erupted. Adis declared her son the rightful heir, while Queen Neka's daughters resisted. The palace became a battlefield, sisters against brothers, mothers against mothers. Blood stained the royal courtyard, and the once great kingdom fell into ruin. To this day, elders in Umadim tell this story as a warning. They say if you walk near the ruins of the old palace at night, you may still hear Adis' laughter carried on the wind, and the cries of a king who lost everything because he could not control his desire.